Hey all, welcome to Tech Talk. Today's topic is about racing simulator technology. Now, racing simulator technology has been out for a while, and there's a lot of different hardware that's available on all kinds of platforms like Amazon and on user websites and on company websites as well. One thing to mention about racing simulator technology is that not all of it is perfect. Lots of it is different, but we're going to dive into some of those details today and kind of explain what's going on behind a racing simulator setup. Now, I have a racing simulator setup. It's nothing fancy. This is probably where most people are going to start when they're getting into racing simulation, just because it's probably the lowest price point for the most consistent amount of response. Without further ado, the Logitech G920. The Logitech G920, this specific one, is made for Xbox and PC, but there's variants for PlayStation as well. This model is kind of like the entry level for the consumer. That's the most modern one that you can buy. And Logitech has a good set of features as well as software that supports this model. There's nice things about this model, including the force feedback that it gives you, meaning whenever you go into, say, a turn or you accelerate hard, or if you hit a bump on the road, the wheel is going to know exactly what's going on based on an algorithm that's pre-programmed, taking data from the game and giving it back to you in real time. Now, the steering wheel has a wide variety of buttons and customizable options as well, but I think that the one thing that really makes this steering wheel stand out is the fact that it's affordable. Most steering wheels you'll see on the market come in at about $250, $300 for an entry level. This one right now will run you about $230. If you want the shifter, that's going to cost about $300. That's an extra $70 on top of that. I didn't opt in for the shifter personally, but I think the shifter provides an even better experience to some people. And if you are interested in going for the full package, you might as well spend the money. Now, I'm not recommending going out and buying a Logitech right away. There's a lot of other companies out there who do some really good work in the racing simulator development scene, some of them including Fanatec or Thrustmaster and even the PXN variety. I tried a PXN V10 at some point, and I honestly didn't think it was too bad, although I think that the shifting mechanism could be a little bit more direct in its inputs instead of being a little bit squishy. However, the simulation setup that I got to experience wasn't too bad. Now, the pedals are also something to consider as well. Some people have custom springs on their pedals to give it a little bit more of a realistic feel, and even the clutch has its own kind of spring calibration as well. I think that the setup that you get straight out of the box is decent enough for most people. However, if you are performing in games like iRacing or Project Cars, braking is a bit more of a hard action to perform, and I definitely recommend getting comfortable with left foot braking as well. Something else to consider is the software perspective as well. There's definitely a lot of software out there for racing simulation. Some of that includes iRacing, Project Cars, Forza Horizon, Assetto Corsa, and definitely the list goes on and on. I think the support for any racing simulation setup on all of those games is great right out of the box. Most of the time users can just plug right in and go, and there's usually no issues except for maybe having to update your drivers every once in a while. However, things get more complicated as setup prices increase. You want to get a monitor with real feel adaptive movement in your seat as well. I've seen setups that get pretty intense where you actually have movement from side to side, front and back, as if you're braking and doing hard turns. Another thing to consider is the power of your system as well. It definitely takes a lot to render the games and have a good quality image 24/7, especially at the high speeds and the high demand that the games expect. But I also believe that it shouldn't be too complex for somebody with an entry-level computer to set this system up and get decent gaming performance. I would say that they probably would be hitting around the 60 FPS range, which is perfect for doing simulation racing. I don't think any higher is really required unless you absolutely believe it's necessary and you get more competitive. I think that the monitor refresh rate will go up as well. However, if you are just starting and getting into racing simulation, your budget may be smaller, and this is a great option to go with. The last thing I want to talk about is the seating position and how you interact with the hardware. There's a lot of different ways that people have tackled this approach in creating their own builds, including how far they want to lean back in their chair, what kinds of chairs they're using. Some people opt in for full racing bucket seats. Some people just take the bottom piece off of their gaming chair and sit it down in an enclosure. And some companies have even come up with their own full box enclosures that they ship to your house that includes all the hardware you need, and you simply just have to attach your steering wheel and put your pedals where they go, and you're off and ready to roll. So I guess this all begs the question, is it worth it to get a racing simulator set up? And should I go for more expensive, or should I go with the standard option? My personal opinion is that if you're just getting in for the first time, get the cheap option. Get something that you're going to want to beat up, learn how to use, and have a little bit of fun with too. When you get comfortable, I think stepping it up to the next range and getting something a bit more expensive, maybe even going for your own custom options, is something that you would want to do in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was another quick one, but I really want to get out as much as I can. Take care, guys. Thank you so much for watching again.